want to talk to you about two phrases that we see in culture and we hear, pretty much all the time. Soulmates. Soulmates kind of intimates that two people have gotten together and they sort of fit. They complement one another. I think that's a good way of putting it. Hand in glove. Soul ties sort of intimates that two people are kind of enmeshed with one another. I picture a knot, sort of like they're connected in more than one way. Sort of two lives have kind of intersected and hugged on to one another. Now, one of the things, and this is anecdotal, observational points I'm making here for you to observe in your own life and maybe in the lives of other people. I have noticed in counseling that as people are sexually promiscuous and they move from one partner to the next, that they tend to have this common denominator in their life. Oftentimes their life is out of order, they lack peace, they're in conflict, kind of double-minded or conflicted kind of often, and a bit confused. I think if you show me your playmates and playgrounds, I'll show you your future. Show me your friends, show me who you're sleeping with, look at the qualities of the people that you're having sex with, and I'll show you a little bit about your future. I think there's a lot of truth to that because birds of a feather tend to flock together. We tend to take on the weaknesses and the illness or the dysfunction of people that we sleep with. Now, you test that out for yourself. I'm giving you something to think about objectively. In the middle of it all, we have these relationships that take priority of our relationship with God. Now, what is He like? What is He all about? Well, He's a God who's jealous. Now, I find this interesting. Not that He lacks anything, but He longs for a relationship with you that's more important than any relationship with anyone else. So as we seek this peace and this contentment and this love and this value and this sense of belonging and worth and significance in sexual relationships, He's grieving. He grieves and He's jealous and He longs for us and frankly, He waits for us. Very patient. The Song of Solomon, a book in the Old Testament, is kind of interesting because it's sort of an allegory depicting the heart of God towards His people. It's a highly sexual book, but it's very intimate. And the reason I think it's in there is because Solomon is trying to explain to us the heart of God towards us, not in a sexual nature, but in a desire to be close and intimate with us in terms of a spiritual heart. When we replace God with other people, we tend to take on their dysfunction. When we're in a relationship with God that means something more than other relationships, He tends to take away our dysfunction and replace that dysfunction with Himself. That's called the exchange life. I give this to you to think about because soulmates may not be a bad term in the proper context, but soulmates and soul ties can have a very negative connotation as well. Are you taking on the confusion of others that you've been with? Are you bringing that confusion into present and future relationships? And is that confusion only compounding itself as you continue to walk the same path of regret and shame and repetition in a sexual way? There's more than just hooking up going on here. Two people are becoming one flesh, and I think not only one flesh, but there's a spiritual exchange where two people become one in more than just a physical way. Think about that. Now, how do you get rid of that? Well, you got to repent. You got to acknowledge that. You got to ask God to intervene in that situation and have enough faith to say, I need to lay this down and you be the manager of my life. You be the Lord of my life. And throughout the Life Points website, you're going to hear that message consistently in all areas where we need help from beyond ourselves for situations that we ourselves have made a mess of. But there is recovery, there is hope, there is innocence, there is healing. A lot of healing available in a relationship with Christ. There's your life point. Truth intersecting with everyday life, even when everyday life is a bit confusing. Soulmates and soul ties.